All right, tomorrow's the big day. So, if you're someone who's living with autoimmune, we have an event coming up. It's a free webinar, and it's about take control of your autoimmune health naturally. This is something that really hits home for me. In 2005, I was diagnosed with MS, and I remember at the time it was overwhelming, a diagnosis like this. I was 22 years old, and the medical approach, or what information I was given from my doctor, was basically that this is something you're just going to have to live with for the rest of your life. And so I went for many years, almost a decade, and I had other autoimmune conditions and other autoimmune problems that came up over time, things like PCOS. I had thyroid stuff going on, may have been autoimmune, was never really determined. But every time I would go to my doctor, it was the same thing. It was, let's send you for some more labs. Your labs are coming back as normal. Or at the MS specialist, it was like, well, we'll send you for an MRI. And my MRI would either come back and say that there was new inflammation, there was new activity in my brain and spinal cord, and it was something we could take action on. But action from that perspective was, here, let's give you a medication. And for me, I ended up just ending having more symptoms on top of more symptoms. And the whole purpose of this webinar is I want to help inspire people and help you realize that there's so much more that we can do for our health that you may have been led to believe. I went a decade, I took medication all the time, and it's nothing against medication. It's a matter of considering and asking yourself, what are the things that I can do to start helping my body, to start helping myself feel better? And that's something that's taken me almost another decade to figure out through trial and error. But we've now worked with hundreds of clients, and we've seen incredible results from them as well when we give the body the support it needs to do what it's trying to do. Your body is always trying to keep you safe. It's always trying to protect you. And so if there is a hyperimmune reaction, we need to start asking why. We need to start digging deeper and figuring out, what does your body need to function optimally again, or to function well again? Because the body's not just trying to screw you. I definitely went through a period of my life where I was angry at my body. I was like, why is this happening to me? And looking back now, and yeah, hindsight is 2020, I can look back now and say, why did that happen for me? And there's so much that I learned about my health, about my body, and about why I'm here on this planet. I didn't go through the years and years of MS, the years of injecting myself every day, of really low energy, of brain fog. It's something I was talking about today on TikTok. And it's been interesting for me creating this webinar because there was a lot of reflection that had to happen, because this is designed to help people with autoimmune. And I thought, how can I look back and think what it was like to be there, to be in the place where that is part of your daily life? It is part of your world. And I remember times talking with Amanda yesterday about this. I remember going to work. I had a boss. He was kind of a character. He was kind of sarcastic, a little bit rude, mean, whatever you want to call it. I loved him. I thought he was awesome. But he used to say to me, it's like you're like two different people. He would talk to me through email, and he's like, you've got it together. Like, mentally, you're smart. And then he'd come into the store and he's like, what? It's like talking to a totally different person. I could speak very clearly in written format, but to get the words to come out my mouth properly, I found very challenging. And I know this is something that many people can struggle with. And I'm at the point now where I can talk clearly. I do speeches all the time. I'm the president of our local Toastmasters group, and speaking publicly is something that I really enjoy, and I always have. And I want to be able to share the message that there are things you can do for your health. So, losing the ability to speak properly, mental clarity issues, was something I found very challenging. Lack of energy, sure, that's something, I mean, as women, we push through. But when it gets to the point where you're like, I don't know if I can function, I don't know if I'll wake up tomorrow and have the energy to do the things I want to do, I stopped making plans with people because I felt bad because I was always having to cancel. And so friends were mad at me. My family was mad at me because I never made plans, but I didn't know how I was going to feel from one day to the next. And it can be frustrating when, I mean, a lot of people talk about that living with an invisible illness, because to look at me, I looked perfectly fine, but nobody knows what's going on inside of you. And you can stay in a place, like I did for a while as well, of thinking this is just how it is. I thought my mission in life was to share with people who didn't know what it was like to live with MS, what it's like to live with MS. So I made that my mission. And then in a few years, I realized this isn't it. there's more. There's got to be more that I can do. How can I actually help people who are in this place? And so if you're someone who's at a point where you're like, there's got to be something else, there's got to be more. That's basically where I got to with my own journey. Is I was doing all the things that I was told to do. I was following all the guidance. I was taking all of the prescriptions, getting all the tests done, and I wasn't getting better. And a shift in perspective was huge. A friend called me out when I asked her to sponsor me for the MS bike ride because I had been waiting for all these years for something outside of myself to come and be my knight in shining armor, to come and rescue me from the illness I was living with. And when she called me out, it was a bit of a throat punch or a slap in the face, whatever you want, whatever you relate to. But it was exactly what I needed to hear, because from that point forward, I realized it was up to me. I was the person that was going to make a difference. My health, I'm the biggest advocate. Your health. Your health is not more important to anyone than it is to you. More important to anyone than it is to you. So if you're looking for different opportunities, if you've been doing the same thing over and over again and you're frustrated, or you're tired of hearing there's nothing you can do, you're tired of not getting answers when you go to your doctor, this webinar is for you. This is designed for people who are living with autoimmune or any kind of symptoms that are chronic, that keep coming back, and you just want other options. So hopefully I will see you tomorrow. I will put the link in the comments. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on Instagram, grab the link in my bio. And the whole point of this, again, like, I'm trying to join forces with people who are looking to create a better future, because autoimmune is not getting better. Autoimmune is something that is growing in numbers, and it's like, we need to start figuring out what's going on here. This wasn't as much of a problem 30, 40, 50 years ago. So what's causing it to be where it is now? And if we don't start paying attention to these things, what's that going to mean for future generations, for our children, for our grandchildren? So if you're someone who's interested in learning more about root cause, autoimmune, and the big question that doctors don't really ask, why? Why is this happening? And what can I do? What can you do? How can you empower yourself to take actions for your own health? You can get better. Even if it's a little bit, isn't it worth it? I've been symptom-free since 2016, and I was at the point where the doctor was saying to me, you're going to be in a wheelchair by the time you're 30. I was 29 years old. I turned 42 this year, and I've never been in a wheelchair. I haven't had symptoms for 8 years. 2016, yeah, 8 years. Why can't you? If you're willing to dig deeper and want to look into that question and explore, join us tomorrow. I'll drop the link in the comments, or check my bio and make sure you save your spot. Spaces are limited. They're filling up pretty quick, and I hope to see you then. If you have any questions, you can reach out as well. Enjoy the rest of your day, and I will talk to you soon. Bye for now.